had questions, but obviously my parents didn't have answers to them. Intermediate, I joined Narayana Junior College. It's nothing short of a jail there. I fell in love after this. Butterflies in the stomach, water, all those were there. My dad used to smoke. I was never allowed to smoke. So some freedom was aching to come out. So we tried smoking, we tried alcohol. We also tried marijuana. It felt good because that was the first time I was feeling something out of the ordinary. I was more pulled towards weed than her. I told her that we should break up. Sadhguru says most of the people, their seeking starts when they're at a very low point in their life. This time, the man intervened.
Okay. Da-da-da!
So the 20 minutes, I was feeling high. So this high is familiar. Like it's high. So I don't need anything else to feel high. So that thing came. After I started Shambhavi, I got really repelled towards smoking. Like smoke going into the lungs, it felt pukish. Like during Samyama, I could literally feel something physical. It's not the physical him that was there. It was him.
Namaskaram everyone, this is Neha and welcome to another interesting episode of Simplified Talks with Neha. Being a spiritual person, it is always interesting to see another human getting transformed from being a hardcore skeptic to a spiritual person. Today, our guest is somebody whose belief in spirituality is as towering as his tall physique. Please welcome Sadavrath Anna.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram Anna. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, so we just want a tour first of your childhood. What kind of a kid you were? What were the challenges that you faced?
So I was born into a Telugu Brahmin family. So my dad was not so much into following rituals and all, but still as a family as a whole we were still ritualistic people. And we were like a lower middle class family financially. And so if now I look back at my childhood, I would say I was kind of an introvert, shy boy, and I was very studious. I was always in the top 2 ranks, first rank, second rank, and so I used to make do because I think I felt like if I just get done with my studies and homework, I can just go out and play.
Okay.
My main agenda was to, like, in the evening finish everything, and without any hiccups I want to just go out and play.
Okay.
So I think that's how I became a studious guy. So being in a Brahmin family, they got this Upanyanam done for me. So that comes with a ritual attached to it. There's some ritual that I need to practice daily. So I just obeyed it. There weren't so many questions because I was in second class or something. I was very young. So my parents told me I was doing it. And there were not so many questions at that point of time. And I would do Sandhya Vandanam. That's the ritual, Sandhya Vandanam. I would do Sandhya Vandanam daily, and my typical day would be going to school, coming back, completing my homework, and going out to play cricket. So,
cricket fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my childhood.
So while you were growing up, did this practice help you in some way?
I don't know, but I was just doing it because I was told to do. So as I grew up, I think maybe around 8th, 9th class, I started getting this question like, why am I doing it? It honestly didn't make any sense to me because I had questions, but obviously my parents didn't have answers to them as to what do those mantras mean or what are they. So slowly I started losing interest in it, and maybe for a few months I acted as if I was doing it just to get away with it. Okay. But then slowly I stopped doing it. My parents, they asked me to continue to do it, but they didn't force me, because even they thought that it has to come from within me, and only then it would do something, whatever it is it has to do. So when I was not very interested in doing it, so slowly that faded away, I think around at my 9th or 10th standard.
So what was the response of your family to this? I mean, when you told them that now you are not going to do it anymore.
Like they tried to
Convince
get me
you.
to continue doing it, but somehow I used to like find some reason to just skip it. Like it's college time or it's school time, I don't have enough time, so I would just skip it in giving some reason or the other, and after a few months they gave up.
So how was your education like? What were the fields that you chose and all?
So when I was growing up, I was very interested in maths and science also, because somehow logic was very appealing to me, and maths I was very good at also. So I like maths, and even science and biology I was interested in, but during my generation it was just two options: you either become a doctor or an engineer.
Correct, agree.
So doctor, we were not that wealthy to take up doctor, MBBS or doctor, so I ended up taking MPC. So engineering was the path that I chose. And intermediate, I joined Narayana Junior College. There are two main intermediate colleges in Hyderabad, Narayana and Chaitanya.
Okay.
So it is like okay, I'd be upfront. It's nothing short of a jail there. So because I was a good student and I was doing good in maths and all, even my 10th standard scores were good. So my mom thought she should put me into IIT batch.
Preparation.
IIT preparation for the intermediate. So the classes would be like 9 hours, 3 hours maths, 3 hours physics, 3 hours chemistry, non-stop, just lunch break for half an hour maybe in the middle. I think the studious Sadavrath ended there. Maybe after 6 to 7 months, I just literally lost interest in studies, because it was just too much for me. And I would still make do with the regular intermediate, whatever was there. The IIT thing was too hectic for me, so I sort of gave up on the IIT preparation then. So I prepared for the normal MSET, the local engineering exam, entrance exam, and I got into a local college in Hyderabad. I did computer science engineering.
Now you understood that you don't want to prepare for IIT. So now you are having free time, isn't it?
Oh yes.
So what were you doing in that free time?
It was intermediate, so we used to bunk sometimes. It was not very easy with Narayana, because if you don't go to college, you would get a message. Our parents would get a message.
Okay.
So sometimes I would bunk, go to a movie or something, but mostly I would be in college. But I think I suffered through those 2 years in Narayana.
Okay. Yeah. But you also wanted to live that college life, that typical college life of bunking the classes and everything.
Yes, that was always there. Like even in 10th class when I was in school, we did go out one day. Like I had a bag. One casual T-shirt I sneaked into my bag, and we were a group of friends. We planned like, we'll meet at this place away from the school. There was a small lane, we changed our clothes and we went to a movie. So those things were always there. Like all the, like if someone asks you not to do something, that is the first thing that we want to do. Right?
Yeah.
So
Being a teenager or like during those growing age, we want to do something that we were told you shouldn't do.
Yeah, the things that give you that rush of, oh, I'm bunking the class, those were there. And somehow I just completed my intermediate, and that was it. There was not much happening, because most of the day would go in college, and we are tired by the end of the day. But it would be like the lecturers talking something, and we would just like after 1 hour the brain it will just shut off, so nothing would go in.
So what do you think, how are the other kids were dealing with this thing?
I think there were few people like really motivated to get into IIT, so they would study. I think that was a very low percentage, maybe like 10% of the class was like that. The rest of the 90 were they just went through with it, I guess.
So what happened after this?
So I fell in love after this.
Oh, la, 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 la.
So she was my senior and intermediate,
Okay.
but I never met her. She was my close friend's automate.
Okay.
So one day it happened, he was writing records for her and he asked me for help, and that's how I ended up meeting her.
Okay.
So then after a few meets I proposed to her, she accepted, and we were in a relationship for like 4 years after that.
How was that feeling of being in a relationship?
It was something, butterflies in the stomach, water, all those were there.
So that was your first relationship?
Yes. Yeah. Before that, because I said I was a
Studious guy?
studious and also a shy guy.
Shy guy,
Yeah.
yeah.
So even though I liked a girl before, I never got the courage to tell her or ask her out.
Okay, then
Yeah.
how was it, the relationship? How did it go?
It was beautiful. Like I actually ended up marrying her
Yeah.
1 year back. She's the
Yeah.
same girl.
Uh,
But there were ups and downs. So the first 1 year it was beautiful. Like we were stuck to our phones all the time. Can't be without talking to each other. So that was all there. But then engineering also started parallelly. So engineering, a lot of things happened. So you meet a lot of new people. So a lot of new habits came along. So I was always curious about things. Like my dad used to smoke, but I was never allowed to smoke. So that was a red flag. Why?
correct.
My dad would drink, but I am not allowed to drink. Why? So those were all there, but I was not young enough, or there was not that much freedom in thought or action till that point of time. But when I got into engineering, I was like 17 or 18 years old. So some freedom was aching to come out. So that found expression with these newfound habits. Like we were a group of friends. It was not like someone pressurized me, or it was because of peer pressure, but we were all curious bunch. So we were like, we wanted to try something. So we tried smoking, we tried alcohol, and we also tried marijuana. So marijuana was it was there in my life for a very long time, and it had a impact also. Can't say positive impact or a negative impact, but maybe tending a little towards negative only.
Okay, but what was that one thing because of which you were, held to marijuana?
The first time I had it was just out of curiosity. It felt good because that was the first time I was feeling something out of the ordinary. It felt there was a sense of, you can say, a calm or high. I don't know how to explain a high. Maybe you as a meditator can relate to what kind of high I'm telling, but this is more of a induced high rather than a developed high. So it felt good because something new. And on the internet I read things that marijuana, it's not all that bad. It was all political reasons that it became illegal, and it has medicinal uses and all. So it was sort of a confirmation also that it's not that bad habit, and I feel good after having it, so why not have it? So I think that was the main reason that I held on to it. And then college, the first year, parallelly the relationship was also there, the college was also there. So college I was sort of going regularly, but at the end of the year I realized that it was not making much of a difference in my end scores in the final year exams, because the lecturer teaches something else comes up, and whatever you write, you are not graded for the same thing. If you know, JNTU is the main college here in Hyderabad, and all the colleges are affiliated to it. So whatever correction happens, they were just random. I think people who were there, they can relate, who were are in JNTU, the marks are never reliable. So it didn't make sense going to college. So from second year onwards, there was no point going to college. So I just stopped going to college.
Okay.
So we were all I think we were a gang of 5-6 people. Dedicatedly every morning we would come out of the house. We had a place, my friend's terrace. We would go smoke weed there. Then at that point of time, the thing was gaming, Xbox gaming. FIFA was the thing then, and hookah parlors were also a thing. So our whole day would just be in the hookah parlors playing FIFA, and we would have our boxes from home. We would eat, then we would just go back home. Our parents thought we were nice people, nice kids going to college and all.
So during this phase, did Akka, who you proposed, did she know about this thing that you were going through all these things? Because you're spending your whole time with your gang.
Yes.
Now what about her? Wasn't she questioning you that you're not spending time with me?
That came up. Like the first year, as I said, it was good. So then the second year, I was more pulled towards weed than her. So I think I'm going to get busted at home now. So yeah, I was more pulled towards weed, and I would meet her, but I would always conjure up some reason and say that I have to go and go back to the gang and do whatever we used to do. And I did tell her in the beginning that I did something like this, and she was not very positive about it. And weed being a taboo thing, I started being secretive about it with her. And I think that secrets don't really do good in a relationship, right? So that was a huge secret, because that's the most amount of time that I'm spending in the day, and that I have to keep it a secret. And I think that caused a few troubles in a relationship.
Okay, and she was not able to make out that you are still into this thing.
Maybe she did, but not to the extent that I was doing, because no one could even imagine that a group of people, they do it as a ritual every day. So not to the extent that I was doing, but I think she had a hunch that maybe he is into this.
So then what happened to the relationship after this?
So slowly, so what happens when we have weed is it sort of makes you detached from everything. You're emotionally not really available, or nothing. You don't feel responsible for anything, or you're just there. That's all. You're just like a weed.
Okay.
You're just there. No one has to take care of you, or you don't want anything, because that high that is there, the high is similar to, let's say, we work out. Some hormones get released in our head and we feel good. Yeah. And that feeling good makes us do it again the next day. Be anything. So this was coming free to me. Just by smoking up, that feeling good is my head, and I have nothing else to do. I don't need anything else to do, because I'm already feeling good. So, but slowly it kept eating away at this emotional side of me. I was, in a way, it takes a toll at your memory also. Like simple things, you keep your keys at some place, you just forget where you keep your keys. The short-term memory loss is a thing. Any people who have smoked, they would relate to it. And so slowly this was happening, but she was very much into me. She was like 100% total into me. So that started a guilt within me. Like she is this much into me, and I'm not being fair in the relationship. I'm not giving my 100%. And somehow I started getting this feeling that I was maybe in the relationship only for the physical aspect of it. And I felt very guilty, and I was not feeling good about it. So I think it was maybe 3.5 years. It's been 3.5 years since we were in a relationship, and I told her that we should break up. because it's not fair that what I'm doing to you, and we should break up. She didn't take it very well. At that point I didn't know, but later she told me that it took her almost a year to like cope up from it and again become a normal person. It hit her very bad.
So what happened to the studies then? You broke up with her. Now what?
Studies, I would always make do. I would just like before I was like this 90%, 91% kid. But after engineering, the scores were all random. One exam I write really well, I end up failing. One, I just write the question paper 2-3 times, I end up getting 70-80%.
Do you think it was happening because of this thing?
No, that's a thing in JNTU
Okay.
correction. JNTU correction has this reputation.
Okay.
So the marks were random, so it didn't matter.
Marks didn't matter for you, and you were bunking the college also. So what were you exactly doing?
So as I said, the morning rituals were there.
Okay, so it was a morning ritual.
So then we would play FIFA on the Xbox and everything. And evenings, I was still into sports. I would evenings I would go back to college. We had a nice basketball court, a football ground. So either one I would play basketball or football. But that had to come to a stop. I think it was around second year or third year. I had an injury. So while I was playing football, I injured my knee and my ligament tore. I had a ACL ligament that was tore. So that was like a serious injury, and I couldn't continue with sports anymore.
Again, free time.
Yeah. So and so I had time for evening rituals also.
Yeah. I was about to ask that now. Morning ritual. Now it's time for the evening ritual also.
Yeah.
So now you are going for a morning ritual and then an
the
evening
ritual also.
Okay, so you're getting more high.
Yeah. When I got the MRI done and everything, the doctor said it's not like a partial tear or something, it's a complete tear, so you have to get a surgery done. But my parents were not very inclined towards getting a surgery at this young age, because they were of the thinking that maybe it will heal, or maybe it will grow with some indigenous methods. Like I tried some Ayurvedic massages or acupuncture I tried and everything, but somehow it didn't work. Or maybe we didn't have the whole picture as to, like, now I understand if someone has an injury now, I can tell them based on their injury, like what you can do to, like if you really need a surgery, or you can make do with physiotherapy, with some exercises or anything. But then there was no whole picture of it. And the doctors are like, you need to get surgery done and then physiotherapy. So we tried these things like acupuncture and massage, Ayurvedic massage, but it didn't really work out. I think if I had combined it with some physical physiotherapy something, maybe it would have worked. So it didn't work, and I think it was 1 year after the injury, there was some muscle atrophy in my thigh, because I'm not using the knee to its full potential. I always had this knee brace. So slowly the muscle contracted, and the thigh muscle was almost like 3/4 of my right leg. It happened in my left.
Okay.
So then we thought, like, there's no other go, I have to get surgery done, otherwise it's going to stay forever. So then I got surgery done, then I think 6 months of physiotherapy. So this got me into physical fitness. So I liked how my body was looking after like working out, and so some muscles started showing up in the body and it felt good. So I got into physical fitness. So then after the leg like healed from the after the physiotherapy, I started doing there were this video guided exercises or something like that. So there was something called Insanity. So it was like insane 30 minutes. You just drip a pool of sweat. So I liked that. So I was doing that daily, and I was getting fitter and fitter. So I really liked how I was looking, and I almost had a 6-pack, and now I got back from the injury. Now I'm all physically even more fitter than I was before. So everything was good. And I think so. After this, the breakup had happened by now, and I started working. So somehow I managed to pass engineering with 65% something.
And
then
you started working as a
software developer. So I was in a good college. So we had this campus placements. So to everybody's astonishment, we were people who never went to college. We had that image in the college. So within the first 2 companies, the whole gang got placed in some company or the other.
Okay.
So it was a miracle for everyone.
Yeah.
So this happened in 3rd year ending.
Okay.
So 4th year, there was no point going to college because I'm already placed.
Yeah. Some noon ritual also got implemented.
So there was no limit after that. We were like, nothing can beat us.
Because
we
you're
don't
already
go to
like
college, we have placement. Many people who already go to college, they don't have placement. So we were on, like nothing can beat us now.
Correct. You thought you're kind of settled now, so you can go for more.
Yeah, that was the only thing that made sense back then. Because if you want to enjoy, that is what you want to do. And that was going on. And meanwhile, this recovery, the workout also got into the whole gang. So everybody started working out, everyone was getting fitter. So we didn't mind doing all these things because we are fit anyway, we are healthy. The typical healthy. So nothing will happen to us. So all these things were happening. We started working, and few months into the job, this time, so now I'm fit and all, so I again started playing football. Like it was 2 or 3 months I started playing football again after like 2 years. The injury again happened in my right leg.
Okay.
Again the same ACL ligament tear happened.
Why was it happening again and again? Like
that was the same question I had. Like what is this? It's not something accidental or it was the same thing, a same injury happening in the other leg. And it really broke me down because like I said, I was there. Nothing can beat me now. Like I had a job, physically I'm good, everything. But I remember the physical struggle that I had to go through after the injury, like the 6 months of physiotherapy. And the pain is real, like after the surgery, because they drill a hole through the bone and put a
screw.
They put a screw and they make a graft from one of our muscles. So it was not a major surgery, just 2 incisions, but still because they drilled to the hole through the hole, the pain was like for 1 month I was on really too much pain. So that I remembered, and everything suddenly started collapsing within myself. Like, what is this? And that's when I think I got this real question, like, what is this all about? What is this life? What is this? The main seeking, I think it started at that point. I think like when Sadhguru says most of the people, their seeking starts when they're at a very low point in their life.
Yes,
there are very few lucky who seek when they're at a very high point in their life. So I was not the lucky few, but
so when you were having these back-to-back injuries during this time, didn't you miss your partner, or did this breakup take a toll on you, like mentally or in some other way?
When the first injury happened, it was Shruti who like insisted on like getting the surgery done and getting the whole healing process done, because I think I happened to send her a picture of how my knees were and the contrast between after the atrophy, like this one is very thin. So she was very scared after that, and she actually insisted on, and she pushed me to get the surgery done and everything. So, but after that, the breakup happened, and taking a toll as in, I was not very articulate with my emotions back then. Even now it is there, but not as much as then. So I would find it hard to express my emotions. So, and with the weird thing happening on a daily basis. As I told you, there's an emotional disconnect that happens. So there was no scope for my emotions to find expression. Now that I look back and I see that there was a lot of hurt, but that hurt I was somehow masking it with, because this thing was coming in and it was making me feel good, so that thing was getting buried inside.
Okay.
Now I can see it, but back then I thought, okay, I broke up and I moved on. The feeling bad, I was sad for a few days or a month, I guess, but somehow I moved on after that because I was distracted with all the other things. So yeah, the breakup did take a toll on me a lot, because after that, even though I got close with another girl, I couldn't take the relationship forward, because as I told you, I sort of got this impression that I'm not like capable of really loving someone totally, or I thought maybe I just have this physical need, but it's I'm not really capable of loving a person. That thing somehow I gathered. So when I got close to another girl, I couldn't take it forward after that. I never really got into another relationship after that. So you can say it did take a toll on me, because I never really moved on. So that was always there.
She knew about this thing of yours, that now you're into another relationship?
No, it was like, I think 2 years after our breakup. The breakup happened in like 2016. This was in 2018 or something.
You were not on talking
We were not in contact then.
Okay.
So it was like a collapse of my reality then, when the second injury happened. So this is when the real question arose within me, like, what is this all about? What is this life? Like, and this. So meanwhile, parallelly, I also developed this interest in science. Like, I used to read Einstein's relativity, quantum physics. These things somehow intrigued me. So I didn't really like deep dive into these things, like reading books and stuff. But I used to watch those videos. They were like really good YouTubers back then, who were making really like nice videos about the physical concepts. So I somehow developed an understanding of the scientific perspective of the universe. So this huge universe, some small in billions of galaxies, in that galaxy billions of stars, in that one star this earth small thing, and something like this is happening and it's affecting me so bad, and it's not really a coincidence. I don't know how I arrived at that exactly, but something is wrong. Something is not right here. So by this time I was like really against like the ritualistic, the traditional way of looking at the reality. So I again went back to this. I was reading some books and I was trying to make sense of what was happening, but nothing really was working. So I somehow happened to land on this article. There's a column called Speaking Tree. I think it comes in Times of India.
Times of India, yeah.
So there, the article said that how Einstein talks about relativity, like how Einstein talks about time in his theory of relativity, Patanjali talks on the parallel lines in Patanjali Yoga Sutras.
Yeah.
So this like, okay, wow, this is like really old, and how come he's talking about something that Einstein talked about in 1900s. So I started reading it. I found some book online. It was Patanjali Yoga Sutras, commentary by Swami Vivekananda. I started reading it and it was a beautiful book. I didn't get to read through the whole book back then. In the first few chapters, he covers how the 5 senses work and how the senses perceive these things, and how the mind makes sense of what it's perceiving, and it made like, it was very a logical book. I think Patanjali Yoga Sutra is like a very scientific approach to how the human mechanism works. I still didn't get to read the whole book because there are, I think, four parts to the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. In the first part, I think it covered almost everything that I read
In those books.
in the whatever I learned through the videos of physical sciences. He almost covered all those things, not exactly in those words, but somehow they were similar, they were parallel.
Do you think that the Western education is playing a role here, because of which we are not able to relate to our yogic culture? Because all the things that now you have studied in those books and you learned through the YouTube videos, that was already there in the yogic culture.
Yes.
So what is your take on it? How would you like to, I mean, what do you want to say to the people who think this way, that, you know, Western education, whatever it is saying is correct, and, you know, then we arrive on this conclusion that it has already been said in the yogic culture. So, like, how it is?
Like both the parties have the share of blame here. That's what I think, because we also lost our way, because if we had that knowledge within the culture and the society running, we wouldn't have really lost it. And in a way, we were gullible enough to get the impression of that, and they were not very good people, maybe. So they took advantage of our kindness, or Atiri Devo Bhava thing.
Yeah, agree. That attitude.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they took advantage of that, and we were not strong enough to keep up our knowledge intact in the society.
Yeah, so you read the first chapter of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Then
yeah, so then this was the time I took a break from the job. I took a 2-month sabbatical leave. So I had some time to think about this leg and what is it, do I have to get the surgery done again and everything. But I was a little scared, you can say. Not skeptical, I was a little scared because I have to go through the whole process again, and it seemed like a mountain to climb. There's a doctor, my father's friend. He's an Ayurvedic doctor. So he just wanted to come and see how my leg is, and he's a practical guy. The first time also, even my parents were thinking of the alternative things. He was like, it's a complete tear. There's no other way, you have to get the surgery done. Even though he was an Ayurvedic doctor, he was telling that you have to get the surgery done. So this time he came to look at my knee, and so Patanjali Yoga Sutras was like after my 9th class, when I stopped doing my Sandhya Vandanam and everything. Patanjali Yoga Sutras was, I think, the first thing which was a little traditional that I did. So my mom was a little excited about it, because I think she saw a glimmer of hope there. So she told him, so this doctor, he's a Vipasana meditator. So my mom told him that he's reading this book, Patanjali Yoga Sutras. So he just subtly threw the hint that this thing called Vipasana, I think you'll like it. You just go try to attend this 10-day course. That's their basic course, 10 days. You try to attend it. I thought, okay, let's try what's there. Anyway, I have 2 months leave here. So I applied. I went to the course. So the first day of the course, I had to sit down. They would give me a chair if I asked, but the thing was, the people who were sitting on the chairs were like really old people, and I was like 21. So it was a little aching to sit on the chair, so I somehow managed to sit down. But the knee injury was there, so it was aching like really bad till the end of the day. So I thought maybe I can't go through the program, I'll leave the next day. But the evening, there's a satsang kind of a thing where they play a video. It's by, so the Vipasana, it was started by this person called S.N. Goenka. So he was a businessman who turned spiritual, and he wanted to spread this Vipasana to the whole world. So it's free of cost. All over the world there are many centers also. So they play a video where he shares whatever he has learned. So in that video he actually talked about everything, like how he talks about science a little bit, and whatever I little bit gathered here, like how Eastern philosophy and Western science are running a little parallelly. he actually elaborated on that in the first video. So I got really connected to what he was saying, and I thought it's really making sense. So then I thought, okay, one more day we'll see how it goes. So slowly, after I think 4th day, I was not really feeling the pain in the leg. And it was like peak winter. It was December or first week of January. I started waking up really early in the morning. I started taking cold showers. And my leg, the pain was not there. I was walking normally. So usually I would walk with a limp, a little bit of a limp, because it'll seem like the knee is collapsing when you're walking, when you don't have a ligament. So 10 days you are silent. You don't talk to anyone, and they teach you meditation technique that you practice the 10 days. I think slowly the 4 days I started meditating and just sitting silently somehow brought in some sort of ease within me, and I don't think I know, because I'll tell you the rest of the story. The leg healed. My knee healed. At the end of the 10 days, there was this smile that just wouldn't go off from my face. I look at the people around me, everybody is like that. Everybody is just blissed. There's the smile that nothing will take it off from anyone's face. And I was really feeling good. But I didn't continue the practice after that. The knee healed. And it was like really magical for me. For somebody who is like very logical, logic only makes sense. This was something that doesn't really make sense, but it happened.
Without any surgery.
Without any surgery, it happened. And after that, I went to Coorg. I trekked a mountain there. It was actually Thadiyandama. It was the highest mountain in Coorg. Somehow I got this thought that I should go watch the sunrise. So I was going to watch the sunrise at some place. So here in Hyderabad, it's difficult to find a place you can watch sunrise. So I was looking for some place, and I happened to stumble upon this martial arts training thing. So I enrolled for that. Even that I was able to do it. I think maybe the 10-day effect lasted for like one year or something. Then what happened was I had a fall off with my dad. So during my whole childhood and everything, his presence was not there so much in my growing up and everything. Now I'm like 21, 22 years old. Now that he has more time to stay at home, so I was not liking it when he was giving me suggestions. Not even suggestions, it was more like what to do, how to do and everything. I was not really liking it because now it's not the time. What I felt was, now it's not the time. Should have been there when I was a kid. Now I'm grown. I have my own thought process and everything. Now it doesn't make sense. So don't do this. But somehow his ego also got a little hurt there. So we had a fight, and he asked me to go out of the house.
Okay.
So I was also young. I was earning. So I was like, okay, I'll go. I left house and I started living near my workplace. Now what happened was, so I started living in this, I rented a place or an apartment. I was living there. Now the martial arts had to go because martial arts was something near my home. From here going there, it was not very practical. It was very far away. So martial arts stopped. So there was no other physical activity that was happening.
Okay.
And I found this new sense of freedom within me. Like I have my own home. Okay. I can do anything that I want. So things then again went downhill. Like whatever was, let's say I was doing whatever at 10%, it became 100% now. Like I would have bottles of alcohol in my room as a decoration. The weed, I could just have it in my bedroom, no one would ask, just open like that. So that was a sense of freedom that was there, and I was enjoying it in some ways.
What was your mother's response to this? Like, because you were leaving the place and you had a fight with your dad, so she must be feeling really difficult.
Yeah, it was difficult for her. Like, she tried to convince me, but she also in a way understood where I am also coming from.
You got another sense of freedom.
Yeah.
How was life after that?
back to going to office. But office also then started making very much less sense at that point of time, because what am I working for? But now that I'm here, I have to work. That was also there, because I have to pay my rent, my bills, everything.
Responsibilities.
That was there. Parallelly, this was also there, that what am I working for? Why am I really working? That was also there, itch. And so whatever money I was making, I would spend it on all alcohol, my pleasures. And so slowly my physical body was not like how it used to be. So it's, let's say, one and a half year fast forward, I'm physically not in the same place I was like before. So out of nowhere someone asked me, we are playing football, some corporate football, we are playing some corporate match. They asked me to come. I went. I was no warm up, nothing. I just started playing. The other guy who was in the team was really playing well. I was a defender. I was trying to defend. So he was playing really good. I couldn't keep up with him. And I stretched too much, and the injury again resurfaced.
Okay.
This job thing also was eating away at me. I didn't want to work. So now, like during this 1.5 years, my dad also, he was like, okay, we were angry, we shouted at each other, but you come back. But I didn't want to let go of this freedom also.
Okay.
So I would keep visiting them in the weekend sometimes. So it was like some relationship patch up happened between me and my dad, but it was not like we are back to normal.
You're still staying away. So now this time, how are you dealing with the
So
injury?
now I had no other option but to again go back home.
Okay.
Because no one was there to like get me food or take care of me, anything. So I had to go back home. So after going back home, I quit my job. I thought this is not making sense. I need to figure out what it is that I really want to do, or what is this. So I quit my job.
I think the injuries were happening back to back, so that you get to ask yourself, what am I doing? Those, those intense questions, those burning questions. Yeah.
So this time the man intervened.
Okay. Da-da-da!
So from like 1 year before this, I stumbled upon few Sadhguru videos on YouTube. I watched them. I think the one that really had an impression on me was a conversation with a neuroscientist that Sadhguru had. The way they both conversed, even he was not ready to accept everything that Sadhguru was saying. But Sadhguru had a logical answer to whatever the questions he was asking. So I got a good impression, and I was, you can say, convinced that okay, this man knows something. So, but it was just to the videos until then. So during my injury, it was Diwali, and Sadhguru offered inner engineering online for free for 3 days. So I thought, okay, if it's free, let's enroll and see what it is. So I enrolled. The program was good. Like inner engineering online, there's like 7 sessions, right? There's 7 sessions. You can't, like Sadhguru, I think, made sure that it's very logical, so that people don't have fingers pointing at it. So that obviously made sense to me. And so at this point of time, we have to go back to my Vipasana again, because after my Vipasana, I told you how I was feeling, like really good inside. So I wanted to share this with Shruti again.
Okay.
So because that was one person that was very close to me during my life. So I wanted to share it with her, and turns out she was actually supposed to come to the same batch of Vipasana, but her grandfather was not well, so she postponed for the next batch.
Okay, so the cords were connected since back then.
Maybe they never got detached.
Yeah, maybe. Correct.
After the inner engineering online, again I called her and told that there's this man Sadhguru, and I did this inner engineering online. He talked so much sense.
Yeah.
She was like, you shut up and do completion first and learn Shambhavi. I already learned Shambhavi and I did this. After the online course, I got the surgery done. Then 1 month into the physiotherapy, I thought my leg was like it can take sitting down. Then I went to completion. So that's when I learned Shambhavi, 2020 January. So it was a breathing technique. So I thought, okay, we are doing some breathing, so more oxygen is going into the head, so I'm feeling that high. I was making some logical conclusion to it.
So you already started feeling high here as a meditator.
So the 20 minutes I was feeling high. So this high is familiar. Like it's high. So I don't need anything else to feel high. So that thing came. But it's not like I was really open to just leaving everything and continuing this. So this I was still smoking and having alcohol here and then. But the thing is, after I started Shambhavi, I got really repelled towards smoking. Like smoke going into the lungs, it felt pukish. Like the first time you have cigarette, you don't really like it. It's just that it looks cool, we continue doing it. I somehow started getting the same feeling of how I felt the first time I smoked a cigarette. Then I was not able to finish a cigarette. I would throw it in the middle, and slowly the habit in itself, it withered off. It was not like something I tried to quit and everything. It just naturally withered off. Luckily, the pandemic started after that. So there was not so much access to
those things,
marijuana and everything. Alcohol I would take my dad's alcohol and have it, something. But even that started tasting very bad. Like I started feeling like, how would I even have it all these years? So slowly this habit fell off, and the pandemic lasted for 2 years. So in between, some course happened. I learned Surya Kriya. Surya Kriya like really helped with my knee, like getting the strength back in my knee. So slowly, it was not like some effort that I had to put to become a different person. Some change, it was just happening naturally. Something started happening. Some rock started rolling down.
So till now, you had seen Sadhguru in the videos. You had seen him on screen only. When did you see Sadhguru for the first time, and what was the impression?
I did inner engineering completion in January 2020. So in 2 months there was Mahashivratri. So Shruti had asked me to like apply for the volunteering for Mahashivratri. She wanted me to experience the whole event of Mahashivratri. So I applied. So when I first saw Sadhguru, I saw people gathering and people like really lifting him up as a godly entity. So honestly, I didn't really like it, because Sadhguru says it's the tools that I'm giving you. These tools, you take them, use those tools and they'll work. But here people, they are lifting him to this God state. So for me, these two things really didn't fit well. But after a few months, I realized that it's their own way of expressing their gratitude to him. And people have their own way of expressing gratitude. So I'm no one to judge how they're going to express it. And even me, I have a lot of gratitude towards him, because he has given me these life transforming tools. So that's their way of expressing their gratitude.
So you came to terms with this thing that, people, when they are showing their gratitude this way to their guru, it is absolutely justified.
Yes.
So then what did you do after this?
This was 2020. So after this, I wanted to, I got to know that there are more advanced programs. So after this, this year, after my Mahashivratri, Shruti, my wife, current wife, she enrolled for Sadhana Pada. So she went for Sadhana Pada, and it was the pandemic time.
Can you just explain viewers and listeners what is Sadhana Pada?
Yeah, so Sadhana Pada is like a 7-month residential program in Isha Yoga Center, Coimbatore, where we go through a process of like practicing yoga, meditation, and we get to attend these advanced programs. And it's offered by Sadhguru for completely free of cost. It's just that our 7-month commitment is needed for us to go through the program. And it is like life transforming in many ways. A person who goes through those 7 months, he's not really the same person that comes out.
So, Akka applied for
Sadhana Pada that year. So, after this, the person who thought that he doesn't have much emotions and all, that thing started melting a little.
Okay.
And I again got to meet her and spend some time with her talking. But always, I also had this in my head that it's like completely, you can say, brutal for me to again ask her for a relationship or something.
Okay.
Because the way I ended it, I have no right to again start it. That's what I felt. So she went for a sadhana pada, but somehow I wanted to spend more time with her. So and also this thing of doing shunya or advanced programs was also there, because Shambhavi and Surya Kriya, things that it did to me, like phenomenal. There's a like Isha Yoga Center, it's there in the foothills of Velliangiri. It's called the South Kailash. So there is a pilgrimage that we can do to the Velliangiri hills. So it's a tough trek. It's not like a easy trek. There are 7 hills that you have to trek, and the 7th hill is like almost this
steep.
It's just muddy and you just have to walk. And I got to do it. So the first time I told you that I trekked after my Vipasana, there was a sense of pride within me. But this time around it was different. There was a kind of a surrender, a gratitude, because it's not me who did it. That's what I felt, because there's nothing that I did. I was given a few tools. I started working with them. But what it did within me, it's not really, it's like exponential to what I did. If I did like one, what happened inside was like 1,000. So there's a sense of surrender and a whole lot of gratitude once I reached the top of the 7th hill. And there is this Sadhguru spot. The Sadhguru spot is the place where Sadhguru said that he left his body in his previous lifetime. I went there. I sat on that edge. The place was really pulsating with some kind of energy. I have never experienced something like that before. It was like really raw energy that was there, and it was just penetrating through me. It was very new for someone like me who was like a very logical person. It was something else, and I couldn't make sense. Tears were just rolling down my face. Then after that I came back. But somehow this thing was always there in my head, that I wanted to make some logical explanation to everything what I was experiencing. So what I thought, okay, I had trekked so much, so it released this feel good hormones in my head, and the place, it's like a edge of the mountain. It's like the cliff edge. There's nothing after that. You're above the clouds, and the whole scenario was such that I was feeling that sense of happy and blissfulness. So that's what I was feeling. That's what I thought. Then I did Shunya. Because I wanted to like see Shruti again once in the ashram, and because it was locked down, we were not really allowed to go into the ashram. So the COVID test and everything, the program was happening. I went to the program. Like after this, you can't ask me for my experiences, because words fall short after this point of time. Whatever advanced programs I attended after this. So I did Shunya. After Shunya, I came back home. I was still not sure what I want to do, But at this point of time, I was at ease that I don't know what I want to do. Until then, I was like, I don't know what to do. Now, I was like, I'm okay, I don't know what to do, but I was still okay with it. So I came to a sort of ease within myself. And after that, so I thought, okay, I need some money to like live. So I applied for some job. I started working because it was pandemic and it was work from home. I didn't mind. I was just staying home and doing work. So after this, Shruti came back and
from
Sadhanapada. And so now I wanted to do Sadhanapada once I heard what her experience was. So the next year I applied for Sadhanapada.
So this was your journey till now.
Yes.
And it is like a never-ending process.
Yeah. And Sadhanapada, it's like put me in the course. Like now you are in the path. Like even if you want to stray away from the path, you will come back because the foundation is set in such a way that there's no missing it.
Now what do you think of Sadhguru at this point of time?
I told you there are no words.
But
okay, but I'll try. So Sadhguru, I feel he's not ordinary human being because as you all, I think many of us know that he went on this 30,000 kilometer journey for Save Soil.
Yes.
And it's not really possible for a physical body to put through all those things of turmoil in the different terrains, the heat, the cold and everything.
And still
I went from here, Hyderabad to Goa. It's hardly 600 kilometers and I had to take like 10 to 15 breaks to just reach there. I can only imagine how it would be for him. One thing I can say, so Sadhguru, while talking about Shiva, says that Shiva just sat down and lot of people gathered around him. People were looking for some miracle to happen, but nothing was happening. And people went away. Only 7 people stayed back and they were the Saptarishis. So Sadhguru says, that was the miracle that was happening, that he was just sitting there unmoving. So for me, during the Save Soil journey, that was like, if I was looking, I had this thing that if Sadhguru is saying what he is, he could just do some miracle or something so that all this backlash that is there, it won't be there.
Correct.
But he also has some explanation to why he doesn't want to do it. But for me, that was a miracle because with experience, I know that it's not easy to, and it's 30,000 kilometers. So that was a miracle that was happening for me.
Yeah. Oh my God. This gave me goosebumps. Yes, and you're right.
During my Sadhanapada, I got to do Samyama. Samyama is like the
most advanced program.
The most advanced program that Isha offers. Until then, like presence or Sadhguru's energy, I didn't really distinctly know that this was Sadhguru, this was Sadhguru's energy. But during Samyama, I could literally feel something physical that was there during us, during the whole 8 days of the program. And it was distinctly Sadhguru that was there. And it's not the physical him that was there. It was him.
So after doing all the courses, going through all ups and downs, and now you're again with Shruti Akka. So now how would you like to conclude your journey and where are you heading to?
Before, there were a lot of questions. Now I think the questions that were there, they are slowly fading away, not in the sense that I've got an answer to it, but there's no, I'll try to give an analogy to it. What I realized is there's something called Taoism. It's a Eastern philosophy. In that they say that the constant Tao is not something that can be spoken of. So all these questions that are coming to me, they are like some permutation or combination of whatever data that I already have.
Agree.
So what I am seeking, like words, enlightenment and everything, they're just words for me right now because I don't exactly know what enlightenment is. So where I am heading towards right now is making a better version of myself every day with whatever tools I have in my hand.
Since Sadavrath Anna said that he has become a better person now, let's see if he has become rapid also. So we'll start the rapid fire round.
Okay.
The first question is, what is the biggest blunder you did under the influence of alcohol or substance?
I think it would be breaking up with Shruti.
Akka will be happy with this answer. Okay, next question. Hypothetically, if Sadhguru asks you to start weed and stop his practices, what do you choose?
Practices, and I don't think he'll ever say.
Okay. If you want to say sorry to someone on camera publicly, who is that person and why?
I don't have anybody I want to say sorry to.
He's all sorted. Okay, next question. Ego. What does it mean to you? Explain.
Ego, I think, is a sense of identity that we develop over the years. And maybe it's something that is required to function in the society. What does it mean to me? I haven't figured it out, maybe.
Okay. Some people hate Sadhguru. What do you want to tell them?
People who hate Sadhguru, I feel like it's coming from a sort of a prejudice. Prejudice that godmen are like this. The prejudice that he is a godman in the first place. And the prejudice might feel like it's justified because given the large spectrum of different kinds of people that we had in India. But you don't have any basis to really hate him because it's just that your own insecurities he's hitting on, and maybe that's why you hate him.
You have the partner you wished for. Now what are the plans about kids?
No kids. I'll tell you why no kids. Because I'll give you a few reasons. First, we are too many. We crossed
Agree.
8 billion.
Agree.
And I feel like I'm not really qualified to be a parent right now because I have my own shit to deal with. And without dealing with all these things, if we have a kid, I don't think we're doing justice to a new life that is coming out.
I think with this it's time to wrap up. This episode was really high. Anna was high before also and after also, but later he understood what high actually means. And I think with this episode, the viewers and listeners will also get to know what is the real high. Don't forget to comment, like, share and subscribe. Namaskaram. See you in next video.
Namaskaram.
You look at my eyes and say, I'm always stoned. Never touched a substance in my life, but always I'm drunk. There is a whole research on how there is cannabis receptors in your brain. There are millions of cannabis receptors because the brain is expecting your body to generate this. But most people have failed. Either they are smoking it, or they're drinking it, or they've become constipated. No, if you're blissed out all the time, your body will be in its best state. This is because we need to understand, you might have provided nourishment from outside, but the intelligence which creates this body is working from within. You give it a piece of bread or a banana or whatever, there is something here, there's an intelligence and a competence here which can transform a banana into a human being. It's not a small thing. It's a phenomenon beyond anything. That you can transform a banana into a human being is not a small thing, and every one of you doing that every day. Only thing is, you're unconscious of the process. If you find access to this intelligence, even a drop of this intelligence enters your conscious life, life will happen magically. Health is just a small fragment of that. Health will be a natural consequence of that.